Finance, Real Men of Real Estate. This is your host, Steve Matley. Looking into the show over there. We are with Bill Tan in the studio today. We've been talking creative deal making. And Bill, you talked about your calculator class. You just offered one of those, I believe, for free. Is that correct?
Well, I did an introductory one called Bill Tan's Hands-On Financial Calculator Workshop. I did it last week, and it is going to be available on YouTube shortly.
Fantastic. So they can access
Free.
that. Mm-hmm. And you have other topics that you talk about. What other topics do you cover?
Well, I'm going to go back to the calculator. The reason I teach that calculator class is so people learn about financing and the opportunities you can have to save money that every day, right, or to make money using financing. And yes, I do teach other classes like creative real estate financing techniques and strategies, note class, exchanging, how to find deals, how to find them. Okay. A lot more I can't even think of.
That long list. So if you want that information, you need to go to BillTanInvestments.com and look at the schedule. Also, LAREI you can find usually through Meetup. Is that your most common way of finding
LAREI. I call it LAREI, LAREIA.
Right. And
if you Google that, right now we have a Meetup. I'm building the website.
Okay.
However, they can get in touch with me by either emailing me bill@BillTanInvestments.com. That's okay. Bill@BillTanInvestments.com. Or LAREIAClub@gmail if you want to talk about the
Okay, great. And then that'll get them started on their journey. And the great thing is about your club is a great place for people to come and kick the tires a little bit and see, I've heard about this, I've seen some TV shows, I'm not sure I want to do it, but they can actually get comfortable. And every time there's a meeting, there's a mix of I'm just checking this out, I don't even know if I want to do this, to the people that I've got a multi-million-dollar portfolio and I'm happy to talk with people about it.
And what's wonderful is those latter people that you're talking about, the ones who are very experienced and very knowledgeable, are more than willing to share.
Yeah, that's what you find out. Now, a lot of people in those meetings, they'll be new and they'll say, how can I find someone to mentor me and basically download all this knowledge into me? And I tell them that's the wrong approach. The approach is identify what you want to do, talk with people that do those things, find someone that you can relate to, and then figure out what can I do to help them and benefit them. This is, if I can bring something to their party, then they will be happy to help train and teach me because I'm offering a benefit to them. And we do this in our company. We have people out there that help us find investors. Well, how do they learn what we're doing? They help us find money for our deals. We have people that go out there and bird dog properties for us because we don't buy anything that's listed. And they do a lot of that grunt work for us. We teach them how to do it. We give them the tools and the software in exchange for them helping us and taking that burden off our plate. And guess what? They get to learn. We have people that invest with us. And if they are a large enough investor, they'll come in and they say, look, I'll invest, but I want a seat at the table because I want to learn. I got no problem with that. If you're bringing the money in to do a deal, I'm happy to share everything we have with you. There's nothing proprietary about what we do.
Well, you and I, people say, like, it was a very good way to put it, download into me, and you and I both go, well, what's in it for me? That's a radio station that everybody's
We have full calendars. We have busy things, a lot of things to do, yes.
So what do you bring? What can you bring to me to help me that would make me want to download into you?
That's right. And so anybody out there, if you want to get into any of these or learn how to do note investing or get into land or do fix and flips, go find the people, go to these clubs, find the people that do it, build a relationship. People want to work with who they know, like, and trust, not just some stranger that comes up and says, what can you do to help me? And then figure out by talking to them what you can do to ease their pain, solve their problem. Just like we talked about buying these notes. There's a need. There's something that they need help with. And if you can help provide that for them, and a lot of times you don't need a lot of training or expertise or any certificates or licenses to do it, it's just grunt work. And you're helping them. If you can do that, they'll be happy to share information with you because by sharing information, they're training you so you can help them and you're learning too.
Well, Zig Ziglar said it best. If you help enough people get what they want, they will help you get what you need.
Love Zig Ziglar. Yes, we miss him. Yeah, he's his basic philosophy. He was one of those guys that says the things that are just absolute common sense, and yet we all need to hear it.
And we don't think about it until he said it.
So he said it, you say, well, okay, duh, we all knew that, but nobody's articulated like that before. And I noticed most of the modern day gurus basically rehash a lot of his stuff and kind of package it as their own now because he was the first one out there doing that, I think. All right. So to kind of put a bow on this, if you want to get in this business and if you want to be successful in this, and Bill, I'm going to tell people this, even if you don't want me to, you've been very successful in this business. Is that right? I'm thinking you've done very
okay.
well. 30 plus years. I know you've built a portfolio. You've built a following. I know there's people out there that if Bill Tan's speaking, they will drop everything and run. You have connections with the people in this business that know pretty much everything. I mean, big names, people that fill up, 1,500 seat ballrooms for lectures and seminars and workshops. And I know that's the kind of people you hang with. So if you want to go to that place, if you want to be one of those people that takes a big bite out of this real estate business, start by going to places like LAREIA. If you're in the San Diego area, SDCIA. If you're in the inland, there's
Inland Empire.
Inland Empire Group. There's groups in Coachella Valley. There's groups across the country, in Florida, and in New York, and in St. Louis. I don't care where you are, there's a real estate investment club out there. Start with that. Start with your ears open. Come in humble. Be ready to learn. Just soak it up like a sponge. Make connections. Meet people. Build relationships, and then figure out, I think I want to do this. I think these are the kind of people I want to work with. And I think if I talk to them, I can offer this to help them, and then maybe I can be a part of this whole thing. That is probably the recipe to do well. You don't need to have a lot of cash or a lot of money up front. I will tell you, I've started 2 very successful real estate and development businesses with $0 out of my own pocket. And the first company I had, we did over $1 billion of transactions over a period of about 7-8 years.
You worked a lot harder than I want to.
Well, that's the funny thing is I have 2 partners, and by the way, they're older and wiser than I am. Between the 3 of us, we add up to maybe 1 full-time employee. That's a crazy thing, and that's why we don't do construction. We just do the land. And I tell people our business model is based upon 2 things: laziness and greed. What's the most amount of money we can make for the least amount of effort between us? And that seems to work pretty well. So channel those negative characteristics and make them work.
I just add one third one is in helping people along the way.
That actually happens too. We find out by helping people, the byproduct is we make a lot of money doing it. I know that you've helped a ton of people, and I know that the stories and the testimonials are out there of people that you've helped go from, I don't know if I can do this, and I'm struggling to pay the bills, to I've got a portfolio and I'm doing really well, and I know a lot of them owe a lot of, at least in part, to what you've done and what you've taught them. Because I hear them. I hear the people talking. They're out there. We kind of run in some of the same circles. So.
I don't hear them.
You don't hear them? Yeah. But they're out there. And so I would encourage anybody to get out there, and it's a new year. A lot of people set resolutions. I'm not a fan of resolutions. I find people set a list of resolutions they'll never do because it's too much, too unfocused. And the key is they never assigned money and time and specific people to help them to get it done. And until that happens, it ain't going to happen. So forget resolutions. Set goals that have execution strategy, and you have committed, this is how much money I'm going to spend on this. This is the people I need to include to make this happen, the people I need to contact with. These are the other resources I need, and I'm going to make a point of that. And then don't make it a year. People dramatically overestimate what you can do in a year. If you start a real estate business, you are not going to be a millionaire by the end of this year.
I'm not?
Probably not.
Shucks.
In fact, for some of the projects like we do, they take longer than a year to do. You'll be behind in a year, but way ahead in 2 years, right? Figure these things out. We have an action plan, and each year go back and figure out, what do I need to do to adjust it, and stick with it. People, while they underestimate what they can do in a year, they overestimate that. They dramatically underestimate what they could do in, say, 5 or 10 years.
One of the biggest lessons I ever learned was from a friend of mine. His name is Mike. And what I learned was, after every deal I've done or every lesson I've learned, I write it down. I write it down in a journal. What worked, what didn't work, what would I do differently?
Yes, the lessons learned.
The lessons
You do a forensics on it. That's right.
And read it over. Don't just put it away.
Yeah, read it back over. And also, as you do that, if you go back and read what you did a long time ago, you'll realize how far you've come. And then we always feel, no matter how expert we get, we always feel a little bit like a babe in the wood when there's a new project that we haven't dealt with before. There's something we don't know yet. There's always a learning curve with what we're doing. And you can go back and read and say, well, look at all the stuff we've done. We've done it successfully. So I guess we're okay.
Yeah. Well, just like with you, people say, gosh, you're so smart. You know all this stuff. Well, it only took us 30 years to learn it.
Exactly. It was not overnight. Yeah.
We're an overnight success after 30 years, right?
Yeah. So I want to thank Bill Tan for being on our show today. Contact him, BillTanInvestments.com, bill@BillTanInvestments.com, or go find LAREIA on Meetup or LAREIA Club at gmail.com. Get started. I'm Steve Matley. If you want any information from me, I am at coast-2coast.com, COAST-2coast.com, and you can see what my company does and what we do in real estate. We will see you next time on Real Men of Real Estate.